The secret to how anyone can build wealth is through investing. So this is going to be either investing your money or investing your time. So we're going to strip this down to the very, very basics of how you can get started investing and how you can start building wealth no matter what situation you are in. And please remember that I am not a financial advisor, but I am just a normal person that learned how to invest on my own. So hopefully these are some helpful tips to help get you started. In this video, we're going to talk about investing in the stock market specifically, but in the next video, I'll go into a few ways that you can actually invest outside of the stock market, as well as how you can start investing your time. So be sure to subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss that. So when you first start hearing about investing, one of the first terms that you'll probably hear from coworkers or from family members is a 401k. So a 401k is a type of investing account, and it's usually people's first introduction into anything investing. If you work a normal 9-to-5 job and your employer offers a 401k and maybe even 401k matching, that's probably going to be the easiest place to start. You can usually start contributing as soon as you get hired or as soon as they release the 401k information to you. But what does all of that mean? So your 401k is an account type that holds the money, but you still actually have to invest that money. The 401k itself does not do anything. That's kind of just the basket that your money is sitting in. Now, this is totally dependent on your employer, so you'll have to check with them to make sure that certain options are or are not available to you. But with 401ks, a lot of times what will happen is your employer will give you a list of a bunch of different funds that you can invest your money into. They'll also probably give you an annoying 20-page packet on it, and you'll be like, oh my God, this is 20 pages of things that I don't know. But that's okay. Just take the time to actually go through that packet, Google things that you don't know, and be sure that you're just aware of all the terms and all of the options that you have for your 401k. It's super important to actually research that and to Google all of the stuff that you don't know. That way you are not randomly selecting something. It may take you an entire weekend to go through that stuff and figure it out, but it's better to do that up front than 40 years down the line being like, oh man, I did not know my money was in that. I wish I would have picked something else. So, just spend a little bit of time doing that. If you have any questions on it, definitely ask your employer or whoever is in charge of the 401ks at your company, and they should be able to answer all of your questions for you. So if your employer does not have a 401k, if they don't match your contributions, or if you're self-employed or a contractor, you may not have a 401k available to you, or you may choose to forego that. So the option that a lot of people will go with is some sort of IRA. So you can either just get a standard IRA account, you can get a Roth IRA, you can get a SEP IRA if you're self-employed. So I'm not going to go into the specifics of all of these accounts, but I will put them all on the screen so that you can Google them. But in the future, I may do another video where I break down these 3 different types of IRAs. So outside of your 401k, or even with your 401k, if you just truly have absolutely no idea what you're doing, you have no interest in really learning, or you just really do not intend to ever put in the time to learn about investing, in that case, it may be best to go with a financial advisor. You absolutely don't need one to invest, but if you want to have an advisor, that is perfectly fine. And I've seen people kind of giving financial advisors a hard time, but for a lot of people, when you're first starting out, having a financial advisor could be beneficial. And that's not necessarily a popular opinion in the YouTube finance space, but I'm all for investing by yourself, but I'm also all for getting help where you need it. There's an absolutely absurd number of Americans that just have zero retirement savings at all, and it's usually because they don't know where to start, they don't have the confidence to start, or they just genuinely are not interested in learning. But I don't see any of those as necessarily a good reason to not invest. So if it comes down to hiring a financial advisor or not investing and not having retirement savings at all, I'd go with the advisor. And the thing is, you don't have to stick with them forever, but while you're building up the confidence of learning how to invest on your own, having a financial advisor kind of guiding you can be helpful. And it's okay to stay with them if it's working well for you. Now, hiring a financial advisor is going to come with fees, and sometimes hefty fees. It'll vary between advisors and between different types of advisors, but generally how they will price it is by taking a percentage of the total amount that you're investing. So when you're looking for a financial advisor, like I said, there are actually different types. So one of those types to definitely look into is a fiduciary advisor. And you'll want to do a lot of research on the specific advisor that you're working with. If they're with like an advisement firm or anything, you'll want to do research on them as well. But that's something to keep in mind, is that sometimes some advisors who are working for larger banks or financial institutions may have other things that slightly influence how they advise you, depending on what different offerings they get from their employer, which would be the bank or the investment brokerage. But with that said, it's still good to be learning about the stock market, even if you do have an advisor. You do still want to understand what is happening with your money. In no other situation would you hand someone thousands or tens of thousands of dollars and be like, go for it, do what you want, I trust you. Like, no one does that. So why would you do that with a financial advisor? You need to understand where your money is going and why. So it's important to start learning the basics, or to find an advisor that's willing to walk you through the basics, and not to like handhold you through every single step of how to invest in anything ever type of way. But they should be willing to at least answer your questions, and they should under no circumstances be making you feel bad about asking those questions. They are there to help you learn how to best invest your money, and remember that you are paying them. So if they are not willing to take the time to explain what they are doing with your money, there are plenty of other advisors out there, so you might as well find someone else who will actually try to help you. The next way is kind of in between having an advisor and doing it all yourself, and that would be having a robo advisor. Now, I am going to kind of squish robo advisors and doing it yourself together, because they'll kind of start to bleed into each other, which you'll see in a second. So robo advisors, the simplest way to explain this is that these are platforms that have basically already picked out investments for you based on what you tell them your risk tolerance is and what you tell them your investing goals are. As you age and as the market changes, these accounts are readjusted for you. So all you really have to do with these is fund your account regularly, and it's pretty much self-managed. Usually these platforms will have an annual fee that's somewhere in the range of like 0.1% to 0.5%, and you'll have to check on the one that you're using specifically. But in many cases, this fee to use a robo-advisor is significantly cheaper than hiring an actual person to be your financial advisor. So Betterment and Wealthfront are two of the pretty popular robo-advisors right now. But swinging this more to the DIY side of investing, M1 Finance and Vanguard actually offer options that I personally like a little bit better, because you don't have that annual fee. It's not completely the same thing, but you can get pretty close. And a lot of people will use M1 Finance, or Vanguard is probably one of the most popular ones. I'll have to look that up. But a lot of people will open their retirement accounts and use those platforms for their IRAs or Roth IRAs. With both of these, they have these kind of pre-built options where you can basically say, yes, I want to put my money into the investment plan for people who are going to retire in 2060. So in M1 Finance, they have these things that are called retirement expert portfolios. And I showed this in a previous M1 Finance video that I did that I will link above. But basically all this is a pre-built portfolio. You can go in and see what exactly is in that portfolio. But the difference between this and a robo-advising company is that you are not paying M1 Finance any annual fee. So if you look into one of these retirement portfolios that they have, you can see how the investments adjust, and that as you get closer to retirement, the investments become less risky. And they also have other pre-built options too. So if you want to do stocks and bonds, or maybe just dividend paying stocks, you can look into those as well. So Vanguard kind of has their own version of this, and that would be the Vanguard Target Retirement Funds. The last time I checked, this did require a higher minimum deposit. And if you take a look into this, you can see that it does a very similar thing where it's adjusted for you, and as you get closer to retirement, your investments go into things that are slightly less risky. So those are what I think are the easiest options if you just want to get started quickly and easily. But we also have what I will call DIY investing. DIY investing is where you are choosing everything that is in your portfolio. You're picking out the stocks, or you're picking out the ETFs or the funds that you are choosing to put your money into. This will often be for an individual account, but you could also do this with a retirement account if you wanted to. I've already made a lot of other videos on how to get started learning about investing. So if you want to learn more about that, consider subscribing to the channel. Be sure to go check out those videos. And the next video will be about ways to invest outside of the stock market, because I know that some of you are interested invested in that. I will see you guys next time.